And here we are.
We're here. Yes. Let's get started.
Woo. Let's do this.
Yeah, if you don't know where you are here to learn how to create your own online course and sell it. Because just creating and putting it in the drawer is not going to take you very far, right?
I like how you said that. And sell it.
And sell it, yes. I'm Shahar.
I'm Nash.
And we are a mother and daughter team. We have been doing this for quite a while.
Yes.
Right? In the info product arena, which means any product in any shape and form and delivery method that you can create using your knowledge. We've been doing this for about 15 to 16 years, not only for ourselves, but for a lot of clients. And we have some pretty big success stories of products that actually became a whole business out of that, which is amazing. With online courses, we have been doing this for, I would say, 9 to 10 years, because we have a company called Curious Mondo that produces courses online. Our bulk is related to arts, but we have courses around business, self-improvement, and things like that. But even before this company, we were doing that in the multi-level industry. We created some courses and to ourselves as well. So we've been doing online courses since the very beginning. And with Curious Mondo, we actually introduced we didn't introduce live streaming, of course, it's there already, but we introduced the format that we call I'm not going to be able to say that. Can you say that?
Edutainment?
Yes, exactly. Where we bring a component of fun, so you're actually talking to the inner child of the consumer. So we twisted a little bit the traditional format of a course where you're actually telling them what to do, because I really believe this doesn't work anymore. It works for people from my generation because we went to school just to repeat and memorize, right? So we being told what to do all of our lives. But I think what happens today is that we want to see how other people do it and then decide by ourselves what we should incorporate or not in our skill set. I think that's very important because, again, we don't want to be passive when we are learning. If you go to the e-learning industry and you go through the numbers that they have, you are going to see the one crucial component of failure in any e-learning platform is the lack of interaction that there is with the students. Is 80% of their not being satisfied with a product. So you have to take that into consideration, even at these first moments that we are talking about, because you need to see, okay, in the format that I'm going to create my course, how I can provide that, and at the same time, how can I provide a little bit of entertainment, informality, so we can actually create a connection with the person that we are teaching. And even here at Curious Mondo, we don't use the term teaching very often. We see all the instructors as mentors, and the difference is a mentor tells you how they would do it, and you decide what you incorporate or not. So it's not, so you have to do this way or that way. But you may have another approach, and that's okay. There are many formats for courses out there, and they can be successful. But it's always good to be thinking about how the consumer is behaving and what they are looking for. During this live stream, you're welcome to ask questions, by the way, interact with us, and you can use the chat box beside the video in order to do that, and then we'll answer that. Any questions that you have. What we have here is a kind of short presentation about what is possible with online courses, the different methods that there are out there, and a little bit about the marketing side, because unless you're doing this as a hobby, there is no point for you to create a course and sell one or two of them. You have to understand that you will have to create a structure in order to sell this course multiple times, because then the course will be working for you and you're not putting the time there. Time is a real scarce thing that we have. We never have enough of. So everything that you can automate, you can record, and you can sell over and over and over again, doesn't require you to be there all the time. Of course, you can make a mix of those as well, right? One of the things that we need to understand that things have changed a lot, and what was true before the pandemic is not true anymore, because the core thing that has changed is our behavior. You know, we went through a very disruptive time, no matter where you are in the world. The pandemic made us change our behaviors overnight. But the fact is that after a while, we got used to that, and we adopted many of those behaviors. And when that was over, we also had a lot of desires that had been bottled up for a year or so, and we start expressing those. And that created a shift in our behavior. And once we change behavior, we don't go back. And that is why when you're thinking about creating an info product, an online course, you have to have that in mind. Because again, what used to work before may not be working now. Even the way we approach the online course. There are many online courses there, right? I think, is there any topic that doesn't have an online course?
Probably not.
Probably not, right? And you have in all formats possible. You have recorded, you have courses on Zoom, you have courses on Facebook Live, you have a lot, which creates a lot of competition, right? But also you have the behavior of the people right now that, yes, they want to learn, but they don't see courses as the sexiest thing out there. So you have to approach a different way, either with the topic that you're going to do or with the format that you're going to do. Now, again, there are courses on any topics out there, and you can be successful if you have these things in mind. How can I also entertain them during the process? Any ideas there on how we can entertain people in a course?
Well, I mean, even by giving the interactivity, that's nice. By actually, I think not so much the entertaining, but the simple fact of breaking it down and showing them that they can do it. So you break down your content in a way that you teach them, but at the same time, they also see that they're overcoming, they're actually creating, they're going through this process, they're overcoming their own obstacles and growing as an individual.
And here's one thing that you should write down. Only 10% of people ever finish a course that they bought, right? That's a number you need to pay attention, because first of all, you will see that that's the natural path that people take. They start all excited about something and stop in the middle somewhere. The second thing is for you to be thinking, how can I avoid that and actually make them finish that course? Because if they do, they can buy the second one, the third one, and so forth. So it's important for you to have these things in mind. We tend to get frustrated, right? Because we sell the course and then we see the people, they don't finish, and you start thinking it's your fault, but it's the natural path. Now, that doesn't mean that you can create tools and resources to push them through. Simple thing could be for you to check on them every now and then in a different format, for example. But before we go there, let's talk about Zoom and now Google Meet and other platforms out there that you can deliver a course, because it is a mixed conception if you think you have to spend a lot of money and understand technology in order to have a course out there. You don't. You can do a course on Zoom, for example, and of course, if you have under 100 people, it is free. You can create the course, record the course with your cell phone. This thing here is very, very powerful today. They all have 4K cameras, which is a better quality of a camera than the one you're watching me right now. So it can do wonders. Sound is also good, and you know, there's a lot more that we can talk about that. But you don't need to invest a lot of money into this.
You can essentially get started with what you already have.
Yeah, a smartphone,
yes,
and a window probably.
For some light.
Right? Maybe a table or a whiteboard, something like that. But you don't need to think big in this sense, because you can create a very good product in a very low budget. And then you decide how to distribute, and you can use other people's platforms. There are several out there. Curious Mondo is one, Udemy is another, and there are really dozens of them. That, of course, you're going to share the revenue, but you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to understand the technology. A lot of the customer service, it's done by those platforms. So very easy. Now, a word of caution with Zoom since the get-go. First of all, since the pandemic, when it exploded, of course, we were all using Zoom all the time. It did cause a fatigue. So even today, if you tell me, oh, we are going to have a meeting on Zoom, I am the kind of person that I do think I'm not going to be there. I don't love it. I really don't love it. I do it when I have to do it. But it caused the Zoom fatigue in most people because we overdid it during that period of time. So you have to consider that delivery method. It can be done, and it can be done in a nice way, but consider that that might be an issue for some people. The second thing, there are 3 points here. The second thing is the type of topic. For theoretical topics, like we are doing right now, that platform works wonders, right? When you're into, for example, arts and crafts and things that have to be done, you have to be showing, you need to think about what are you really providing there. I'll give you an example of a course I took that was about embroidery, right? And I had high expectations for the course. The instructor, I think, was in Australia, and she started. She was very good at teaching. But the thing is that embroidery is made of tiny stitches, right? Very tiny stitches. And even though she was trying to do the best she could, nobody could really see those stitches, how they were being done, because, you know, she was constrained, I think, by a computer and a cell phone, and there was no way to see that in a clearly way. And that was so annoying to me that I did leave the course in the middle, which I never do. So you have to consider what you have, how you're going to use the resource that you have, and if it's appropriate to your audience or not. If it's theoretical, that's totally fine. If you have to show things, there are ways around it, of course, because, for example, you can have the main laptop that you have with the Zoom, where they can see your face, and you can have a tripod with a cell phone showing what you're making, right, if that's necessary.
Or with, like, you have your phone on your face for your Zoom meeting, and your iPad for the table where you're working, something like that.
Exactly, you can play. And in our program, we do have a video showing you how to do a setup. So you can do that, but it's still, with some topics, even though you might have 2 cameras, it gets complicated when you're using Zoom. If you're recording, no, because that can be fixed on post. It can be fixed when somebody edits, which you don't have to do it either. A lot of people get really stopping the tracks because of that, because they think, I don't know this and I don't know that. You don't have to, because today is very inexpensive to outsource, right? You can get people all around the world helping you, and you are going to have the video on the same day, all edited for very little money, right? Another thing that you have to think, we talked about entertainment a little bit, but people understand learning as something boring. Again, brings us back to our school time, where we only passively learn all the time. So you have to take that in consideration. Why? Because it does impact when you're selling. So what are the components that you can twist that and make it really enticing to them to grab your program? Remember that especially when you're presenting what you're going to deliver, you're there to entice them, to make them excited, electrified about what you're going to be teaching. And there needs to be the component of fun. It can be something simple as you're just a fun person, right? You smile a lot, you like to laugh. It doesn't have to be anything complicated, but that component has to be there.
Essentially take away the lecturing from the process,
yes.
Right? You're not lecturing.
And that is another thing that we have now. We can say that the whole society is an ADD society. We have a very hard time paying attention and keeping focus on things. Part of this is the social media that we use all day long, right? Because you're so used to be doing this and looking for something interesting, whatever platform that you're using, that we are not only overloaded with information, we also cannot keep focus because things keep changing all the time. You have to take that into consideration because that impacts the results and impacts how people finish or they do not finish the course as well. You might be asking, okay, but you know, I know about this, I'm passionate about this, and I would say, good. Because if you have a passion about something or you know a lot about something, you can package that at a course. But you might say, but you just said that people get, you know, information all the time and they are all the time online. Is it worth money? And I would say, no, it's not. Information is really worth a dime. We have access to that all day long with multiple ways, and it is really everywhere. But structured information that leads to a result, that is what people pay for. So, you know, if you're teaching plumbing, there's so many videos and stuff out there about plumbing, but they are disconnected from each other. So it will take the person a lot of time, which is our most valuable asset, and, you know, at the end, they may be very confused, and a confused brain doesn't take action. So then it's a lot better for them to pay for a structured information that tells them how to go from point A to point B in a logical sequence, and then they can have the results that they want. For that, they pay. Oh, but how much do they pay? Well, it's all across the board, and it depends a little bit about the topic, it depends on the market that you are, and it depends on how proprietary that information is. So, let's suppose you're teaching plumbing. I really don't know the market for plumbing right now online for online courses, but there might be a few, or there might be a ton. That will kind of guide you on how much you're going to charge, unless in the process of fixing something related to plumbing, you have created a system, a methodology, a step 1, 2, 3, 4 that you follow that always gives good results and diminishes the risk involved of failure. We don't like to fail. We never like to fail. And of course, if we go take a course, it is to avoid that. So if you have a process, a methodology, something like that, which in our program we will help you create one, then the thing changes and the perception of value increases. So you can charge more for your course. Now, is there a number that you should charge for a course? No. We have sold different types of programs from $40 or less to $40,000, and they all sell. So it all depends on that and how you reach your audience, right? If you're going around with just your friends around you, probably the price point will have to be lower. If you decide to invest a little bit in advertising online, which today it is easy and not necessarily expensive if you choose the right platform, then you can attract whoever you want to that course, including the people that would be willing to pay a lot more. Of course, a program that costs $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 has something very proprietary into that, embedded into that. So the person giving that course has created a very specific methodology to achieve something. And the type of topics also matter in the price point. Why? If I teach crafts, it is already perceived as a low-value kind of information, right? If I teach you how to make money in 3 easy steps with anything out there, any type of investment, that's a different ballgame. Because the person understands, oh, I'm going to invest in this course, but I'm going to make a lot of money out of it. So it's a no-brainer. So it's okay if it's 700, 1,000, 10,000, whatever it is. It's teaching people how to make money. The crafts, for as an example, doesn't do the same. Of course, you can create a business doing art and crafts, but the perception of value is a lot lower. So if I try to sell that course at $10,000, I'm probably going to fail. That doesn't mean that I cannot charge 700, sometimes 1,000. Again, is your technique, the way you do this, something that you have created, and then you can charge more, right?
And also what you provide and combine with it beyond just the videos. Are there additional resources that you can add that will increase the value?
Yeah, and the bonuses that you can create. So what are the crucial steps for you to have a successful course? It needs to be an organized, logical structure, takes a person on a journey from A to B, without making them work a lot for that, because we are also very lazy. We are, and every time with simple things like you have to stand up from this chair and go to that chair, we think twice. That's how we are wired right now. So you have to take them in an easy way. People will pay if they save time and if they save work. And of course, by acquiring structured information, that's exactly what's happening. You're saying, instead of you going to scout YouTube all day long, get confused, watch 10,000 videos, and at the end of the day not really know where to start, I will provide you what you do on step A, step B, step C, and you're going to zoom through that and get the result that you want. That is that simple. Now, talking about topics a little bit more, there are some topics that they can stay as an online course for a very long time. We call them evergreen topics. So, for example, dog grooming, art in general, info products. The technology and the softwares might change a lot, but other than that, it's the same process, right? You use your knowledge, you structure in a certain way, you package in a certain way, and you sell in a certain way.
So essentially, evergreen, you can sell today, that course is applicable. You sell it 50 years from now, and it's probably still applicable. You can continue to sell. Whereas if you do a course on a specific software or computer or website development, let's say, where that's constantly changing, that course is not evergreen, because the moment the software changes, your course becomes obsolete.
Exactly.
So you have to think, what can I do, what can I create that is evergreen, that it'll keep selling, that I don't have to keep redoing. Or if it is something that you master that does change from time to time, how can I provide support to make it evergreen when there is a change?
Yes.
That's beyond your control.
And that's exactly the thing. If you teaching technology and softwares, and there are so many today, they're exciting. Even not only software related, things like 3D printing, for example. Well, the technology changes in a very rapid pace. Some of you might be thinking, why don't I teach AI, right? There's so many cool things with AI right now, but it does change by the minute. So it's not that it's a bad course, it's not. It would probably sell a lot right now, but you need to be aware that you will either update that course constantly, or it's going to die in a short period of time. For a software, usually when the next update comes, the course is gone. But of course, you can always go record an update, add to the same course, and keep on going. A lot of people do that. Instead of creating version 1.1, 2.0, 3.0, they just add the updates to the course and they keep on going. But that takes work from your part. So you have to be willing to do that every so often. With technology, you kind of don't have a way out of that. And things like AI, 3D printing, all the softwares, they all go through the same because it does change a lot. Now,
but it's also
not a big deal, right? As long as you are willing to do it.
Well, yeah, you just need to know, you just need to be aware of it so that you can determine your strategy. But even if it's not evergreen, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because you create one, you know it's going to go obsolete the moment that they release a new update. Well, yes, you can have, say, a bonus or something within that course that you can provide automatic updates to teach them, but it's also an opportunity for income, right? Because if there is a big release of that software, now you have the opportunity to create a new course, a new updated course that you can sell. So it just depends on the strategy. It's not good or bad. You just have to be aware.
Yeah, and depends the strategy when selling, because you can just decide, since there is an update every 6 months, I'm going to do a new launch for the same course, which is fine. And there's so many things, because you can automate all these courses and they keep not only selling for you all the time, you can even automate the launch of that. So today it's a lot easier than, for example, when we started, right? Because before you had to have a website, you had to have so many things in place to do that. Even the filming was more complicated.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Before, we actually had to have expensive equipment to film a course.
Yes.
And now I can do it from a phone. Literally, I can do it just with my phone.
Yeah.
And that's amazing.
And that brings us to another very important thing when you're thinking of creating a course. That is, how can you scale this? So let's think you're passionate about 3D printing and you want to teach people how to use the different machines and do that you can do with a 3D printing. Well, it is exciting because it is a new topic. A lot of people want to learn that just because it's fun and as a hobby, as there is a whole home-based industry showing up that people buy 2, 3 machines and they start a business. So there is for sure an interest there. It's the type of topic that eventually you're going to have to update, but not as often as a software. But do you want to teach everything that it needs to be done with 3D printing right away?
In one course?
In one course?
No, I would I would segment it for sure, because you, first of all, you have two things to consider. One, how can I make more money? I know sometimes it's weird to think that way, but
Yeah, but it's a business. Yeah.
And the other thing is, how will I make it so that the journey of my client is shorter and effective? So in other words, instead of trying to cram everything into one big course and overwhelming them and making them go, I don't know where to start, well, split it up, do course 1, course 2, and now they know they have a clear path of the direction they have to take, and they'll feel accomplished faster. They'll actually be able to complete the process, and you have more than one product.
And they'll be happy at the end.
Yes.
And what's even more important, they stay with you on the journey. Because when it comes to promoting something, doesn't matter what, when it comes to promoting, it costs money. You're not going to get away with that. You can use social media all day long. You will still have to invest some money in order to sell. Well, statistically, it costs a lot less to keep a client than to keep bringing new clients all the time. So if you have a number of people that want to follow you through the journey, it's going to cost you a lot less to keep selling to them than to bring new people all the time. You know, there has to be a mix of both, but it costs you a lot less in that. So you can have the basics of 3D printing as a course, then an intermediate showing the different types of machines, the different types of possibilities out there, printing with one color, printing with 4 colors.
You can then have a troubleshooting.
The troubleshooting course is going to be a big seller, right?
Yes.
Because those things, every day there is something. So you can segment that. Of course, there are master classes there that they cover a lot. And in some cases, they make sense, and they are very good sellers, but not all of them. Most of the time, you all want to give that information in chunks, so they can go through, move to the next stop level, however you want to call that, and then another, and then another. Generates more money to you, makes the customer satisfied, because again, you don't want to overwhelm them. The brain runs on a 6-watt battery, right?
Yeah, which is the same as the light bulb inside of your fridge, which
Yes.
is insane to think about.
So if the brain gets overwhelmed, action is not taken. They stop. It freezes. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to give too much. I know the desire of, I know so much about this that I can, I really can overwhelm you, and ask me how. I've been doing for products for a very long time, so I know the ins and outs of most products out there. I can talk about this 10 hours in one day if necessary. But you're going to be overwhelmed, and you're going to say, no, this is too much for me. I cannot do this. So that's not good for business. So you want to have that in mind when you are creating. And it also, Nashlah, allows people to scale. We start with one course because we are thinking, I want to have something online that I can make money, help with my cruises at the end of the year and things like that. But you can also think, how do I make a business out of this? And if you have 3, 5 courses, and they are constantly being promoted and sold, well, you may well make more money than you may be doing in your job right now. It is possible. It does take work, it does take some effort, and it does take some money, but totally doable. And you can create that around any topics. I see.
And when you say any topic, it really is around any topic. It can be a technology-related thing, a software, but it can also be business concepts, whatever that is. It could be a marketing course, whatever, or it can also even be arts, right?
Exactly.
And within each of these segments, I'm sure there's a way that you can segment and offer and create a line of products. Even if you're thinking arts. Oh, it's not just a painting. It's, well, first you do the basics of how to get started, but then you can do the advanced techniques. You can do
other projects, project-based only in many cases.
Project-based courses.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, there are
exactly.
companies that they actually make millions of dollars a year, that all the course, they have a ton, but all the course is just a project-based. So it's a 2-hour course that you buy, and you consume, and you make the project, you feel happy, and you buy the next one.
And you feel accomplished in that process.
Yes, I see you have some comments there.
Yes, I do. So this is going back, this is from Chana, I think I'm pronouncing your name properly. Going back to when you were talking about the ADD, Shahar, this is a quote from a book, from the ADD 2.0 book, and it says, the brain is on the track then it jumps rails.
Yeah.
In a 3-second moment in ADD, it happens in 3 seconds. We are riding the bike, but we drive it like a Ferrari.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it used to be just us ADDs. Today is almost a society behaving like that because of the amount of stimuli we get during the day, right? At the same time, since I know you have more, but let's think about the consumer that we are selling to, right? First of all, most of us today, and I'm specifically talking to the US because that's where I know the data, we feel lonely. You know, 1 in 10 people think they have a best friend that they can call at any time. All the others don't think that. And 1 in 10 people feel extremely lonely, meaning they feel they are isolated. And of course, the pandemic didn't help in that point. So that's the consumer you are talking to today, and you have to have that in mind because that impacts how you deliver the course and how you sell the course as well. The second thing is the amount of numbness we seek during the day. You may be thinking you do this for fun, and I don't care which platform that you use, but usually we are doing this, right? Tons of videos all the time, and what are you really doing? You're looking for something that entertains you. 90% doesn't interest you at all, but something here that could entertain me for a minute or less. And some numbness. I'm trying to forget the rest of my day, the rest of my life, because I'm getting very weak into dealing with confrontation and with challenges. And the younger we are getting, the harder this is getting to be. Why is this important for you? Well, first, because this is the person you're selling to. And second, if you try to go too deep in a subject at once, you are going to lose that person. They are already overwhelmed. They are not feeling their best selves. Even if you're a life coach, you will be dealing with this a lot. And so they're not feeling their best selves. They are overwhelmed, and they don't want to have to make a ton of decisions. We are all like that at this moment. So when you're delivering, you need to think about this. It needs to be in small bites. And I'm talking about small bites, not the length of the video that you're going to do, but the amount of information you're going to give. I would even say that for a 90-minute webinar like we are giving here, it's already going too deep. Right? So you have to think about how to balance this because it impacts sales and impacts how far they go into your funnel.
So Susan, this going to when you were talking about price points, Susan was like, what course sold for 40,000? Was it because of the instructor? Wow. So Shahar, before you answer that, you have to think that courses, we use the term course, but that takes many shapes.
Yeah.
Really, there are many different formats. And so you can, by adding value, you can increase the price of your course. But that course might take the shape of, say, even a mastermind, right, where you provide the training program, but you also provide one-on-one consulting with it or group consulting with it. So you can add features to it that will then increase that value.
And that would help you also scale your business, right? So you have, for example, the basic, medium, basic, intermediate, and advanced course of the topic that you give, but then you say, okay, the person will ask you eventually, and how else can I work with you? Because we all have stop points in our journey to learn anything, right? So, and we all deal with fear at the same time. And you might say, you know, you can join my twice a year mastermind group. So it's a group of people that I get together and I provide unique or personal access to you. People will pay a lot more to have access to the expert. And that's when, for example, this price point happens. And yes, it sells, the 40,000 is actually a partner of ours, sells every week. Now, yes, he gives access to him. It's a mixture of online courses with access to his expertise. Is he super famous? No, he's not. I would say he's on the medium level famous, right? So it can grow a lot more than that, but it's combined. Maybe you're dealing with something that would be helpful if people follow you. Let's say you are an expert on thrift shops and reselling, something like that. So you offer the courses for them to understand what's the structure and what's the process to buy good stuff. But then you can do an expedition with them to the thrift shop every so often and show how to find valuable items. Again, can be anything. You teach them a course on how to sell on eBay, bicycle parts. So you are going to have the recorded parts on what are the bicycle parts that are worth money, the different types of bikes and stuff like that. But then you can take them also on an expedition of finding those, or just giving them advice. A while ago, Nashlah and I decided to invest in a boring business that is the snack and soda machine. And we know nothing about that area. And we went and bought a course online, I think it was like $700, with a guy that would teach me the ins and outs of that, and then would give me a 15-minute consult
So
on how to do it, on my doubts.
it was an actual training program, so we had videos that we would watch during our own time by ourselves, of course, just watch that whole course. But then he provided the 15 minutes, that's it, consulting,
access to him.
where we could reach out to him and ask questions. So there are ways and ways for you to do that. If you, just as an example, like even if you do couponing, you can show someone, you want to teach people how to do couponing, you can do the training program and then you do the expedition where we go couponing together.
Yeah.
We used to have a client that he did photo expeditions.
Oh yeah,
and so
many years.
The photo expeditions are great because it's a course, it's a training program. They're going to show you how to take photos, but you're going to add the component where you're going to go to Iceland together and take photos, or you're going to go to Italy and take photos together with the experts. And so, see, you're adding the value, and then you're able to charge more.
Yeah.
So it's actually kind of fun to think about how you can incorporate this into your courses. You can incorporate,
and the price points will keep going higher. And I think that's the beauty of the info marketing as a whole, because there are no limits. You can combine products. You can have physical products with online. You would ask, why $700 for a vending machine course? It's just a bunch of video files. You can find that on YouTube. Yes, I can. But I have them in a logical sequence that I'll know how to deal with the machines. And then on the bumps on the road that I will face, I can get that solved in 15 minutes instead of trying to figure out myself.
Exactly, because like you often say, Shahar, time is our most valuable asset. And so, gosh, if we're wasting time trying to figure out this thing on YouTube, there's tremendous value on going on YouTube, yes. But the information is just like all over the place. Now, you're considering, okay, we now have 2 vending machines. We need to make this happen. It's a business. We're running against time. Well, if there's an expert, if there's someone who has a proven track record that they have done it and they know how in that course, I feel safer investing in that and having exactly what I need, because he's going to show me the ins and the outs and the good and the bad, and he's going to show me how to tackle that in a sequential, like in a sequence. And so, yeah, I'd much rather put the money into this than into spending time into getting different opinions that will then
this guy does this way, that guy does that way, and I just go crazy.
Exactly.
Now, Nash, I know they are always thinking about, but what's the format and things? Well, there's nothing that beats videos right now, right? If you want to have a successful course and you incorporate or do the whole course with video, it is a winner, because even all the social media platforms, you've just seen the last few months how much importance they're giving to reels. Static posts many times are not even working, and that's the same thing when it comes to learning, right? So if you use video, it is your best option. And again, you need a window and a cell phone to start doing that. People, I've been doing, like I said, this for many years. Even today, we have a full studio here. We don't have the latest technology camera-wise, because we do a lot of live streaming, and live streaming requires even less than other formats. But we don't have the best. And never once we had complaints about quality.
No, because quality
and we have sold
is not about image necessarily. It's about the delivery of the content.
Exactly. So a cell phone will do the trick for you. You don't need to invest a lot. You can. I just bought a camera. They're super light. It's used a lot by travel bloggers, and it's 4K. And I've been doing my social media part with that camera because, you know, the technology is there, very good quality, but really it's not necessary from the get-go. It will be at some point as you keep putting more courses. And if you have the money to start investing in 4K cameras, that's fine. But it's not a must. The main reason people still use 4K when it comes to online courses, it's not the same with movies and stuff. It's because you usually can tape on the horizontal and crop it to vertical. So the same shooting you can use for social media and you can use for the course. So that's a good thing, but you have to have an editor to do that, and not all editors know how to do that either, right? So that's not the big point. The sound on the other side, you need good sound. People are not forgiving when it comes to sound issues. So you have many ways around that, including buying a $20 microphone that you clip to your cell phone and then here, and you talk. And in the program, we show you the ones we use, and they really cost $10, $20. You can invest in more sophisticated microphones, of course. But the sound needs to be good. Can I do it in other formats? Yes, you can. Of course, you can do PowerPoints and webinars and deliver the whole course as that as well. The Zoom we talked about. You can deliver a course in text messages, and there are people doing that. Usually they're very short text messages. Motivational stuff, for example, works well with that, and it can be delivered that way. You can do a mix, so you have videos, but you also have things for them to download, right, like tools. And we talk a lot about tools during the program because they are a crucial component of any course. You can combine that. You can have printed manuals that you deliver, of course, for an extra fee to the student as well. You can have kits. If what you're teaching require the kit, you have to think about how far in advance you need to plan the course and send the kit so you don't start the course that they haven't received and you're dealing with people complaining. Then the second thing that people ask a lot is like, but it's a video, it has to be less than 60 minutes, 60 seconds each one. No, it doesn't. When we are teaching, it's not the same rules that we follow if we are doing social media, right? So you have to go for as long as you have to go. Now, of course, you're going to learn how to structure the modules of your course, not to be overwhelming. And today, it's better if you shoot per topic. So let's say per subtopic. So let's say you're teaching dog grooming. How many topics you're going to have, the material that you need, safety measures, the different types of dogs, different types of haircuts and stuff like that. Each one is a module. You're going to do short videos for each one. And why? Because again, we don't have patience anymore. So a very long video impacts if I'm going to watch until the end. I get impatient with that. We all get impatient with that. So short videos,
to the point.
but to the point. So you bullet point most of the things that you're going to be speaking, and then you go with short videos. It's a better delivery than a long video. But if you know me, you're going to say, wait a minute, Shahar, I know you very well. And at Curious Mondo, you stay an hour for each thing, right? Well, first of all, it's not an hour. We have commercial breaks and stuff and chit-chatting. So it's usually about 40 minutes each segment. But we are here dealing with art. And in many cases, when you're doing something, you're sewing something, you're putting glue on something, you're dealing with pottery, the person cannot stop and then go back again, especially because in our format, we are live streaming the whole course, right? That's how we record the course. So I have to allow them to be able to finish a part of the process in order to go to another one. And guess what? That never stopped anybody from buying the courses. They have to be as long as they have to be. If you can, you subdivide in short segments. The consumption is better, but you don't have to. And I was going to say something about
you
this.
You also
and I
have
forgot.
to consider your audience. Shahar, I think you mentioned in the beginning about irrational passion. Did you mention that? So irrational passions are irrational. Maybe you do spend 9 hours glued to the screen learning how to do something, right? So you need to know who you're talking with and who is interested and who's going to watch this, because that person might just be okay with a long form version of your lessons.
Exactly.
So just
many times
have to know who you're with. Shahar, a comment from Jan, talking about starting small and growing large reminded me of the movie Julie on Julia. How Julie's passion for cooking and doing a blog with no followers blows up into crazy following and pushing her to do more advanced Julia Child recipes.
Exactly. So we tend to put obstacles in front of us, and the moment you have an idea, you start say, oh, but I need a camera and I need a tripod, and who is going to do this and who is going to do that, and then that becomes the excuse for you not to accomplish what you want. And that's natural, because there's fear of failure. We all fear failing, but failing is part of learning. So you're going to make your first course, and of course you're going to watch it later, and sometimes a month later, and you say, why did I do that way? And you might want to redo it, or you might want to say, okay, that one, it is what it is. Let's go to the next one, I will do better. That's my approach. I don't go and fix stuff. Of course, I'm going to watch this a month or a year from now, and I'm going to have 10,000 things that I wouldn't do. It's just the way it is. Well, I'm not going to re-record unless there's a major thing that I have to.
It's a natural progression. In fact, we did do another webinar on the same topic.
Right.
And after that, we were like, well, this could be better. We could address it this way, and here we are today. Right? It's the process.
And it's the same thing we did with the program itself.
Yes.
Right? The first delivery that we had, and we had quite a few sales, we did a 3-day intensive, but we felt during the process that we were overwhelming people, because there is a lot of information in this. So then I recorded in modules, in short segments, the program, and now it's easier to consume. So so did I throw away? No, it has extremely valuable information I have incorporated.
Yes, we incorporated is precisely the word. So because we did do that program, it was good, it was successful, but when you analyze it, it's like, well, maybe it could be better. And so we did exactly that. And now that program that we did do originally becomes a bonus of this new program. And the other thing just escaped my mind. But I have
doesn't matter, because the one that escaped my mind came back.
Oh, great.
One way that we produce the courses, and we actually love to do it that way, is that we live stream them.
Oh, I remember.
Right? And in our case, we allow people to watch everything for free, but we are recording that, and then we package, and it goes on demand. We take the calls to action out. That's what is edited, and basically that's it. And commercials, of course, we take it out. And then it goes to the e-learning platform. We love to do that because we deal with a lot of instructors that have never been on camera, and people get really, really nervous about this. We had cases where the instructors start crying, and so we have clinics on the side of the table. But it's normal, right? So we found out that it would be much more effective that way than trying to record. Because the moment you're recording, you stumble upon a word. We all do. I do a lot because it's not my main language. And then you stop. Oh, let's do it again. And let's do it again. And 10,000 years from now, the course is done. So we have situations where we record courses for other people. We just did this with a lady that came from Brazil to record with us here. And we use a similar system. We do live editing. So we have a place for that here. And we tell them, you can stop any point you want and reshoot whatever you made a mistake. But you're going to start from the beginning. Yeah. Because it's live.
You can stop as many times as you'd like, but you have to start over from the top.
That works like magic.
It happens once or twice, and then that's the end of that. They actually go and follow through with the sequence of things.
Or else you're there for days criticizing yourself and saying, oh, I didn't do this right. I didn't say this right. That causes... Sorry.
Bless you.
I think I can now. That's the problem with life. You have the unexpected.
So Shahar,
yes,
we had a comment from Marie. In teacher speak, you create a scheme of work and the lessons within the scheme, with an objective to be achieved.
Yes.
And then there are the stepping stones along their journey. And the lessons, with a clear objective and a topic achievement, could be sold separately or seen as a step along, progressive step to an overall program of work.
It's perfect, Marie. That's exactly,
Yes.
In other words, what we have in the program as well. And those roadblocks are crucial. And you, as the teacher, the instructor, the mentor, you have to foresee them even before your first course. And then you have to address, because there will be a point in the journey or several points in the journey where people freeze. Because I don't know, I cannot do this, I'm afraid of making a mistake. And you have to pull them from that roadblock. So extremely well said. Better than I say usually.
A comment from Chenna. Chenna said, "Goodness, I just made a 1970s connection to the artist who left the studio and went out into the community to teach oils and watercolors. And they set up retreats in outdoor places and lodges. I paid $200 back then for a weekend of plein air teaching. And this seems to be the same exact concept."
Yeah, exactly. You can really, online course is a sexy word right now, even though people hate courses. Look how the dichotomy there, dichotomy.
Dichotomy, yeah.
But think about this. You have the online version that works for you 24/7 if you do things right. And then you have the other add-ons that you can create. A retreat, I've seen retreats that cost $2,000, $3,000. Right? Then you go to a cabin someplace. It is good because not only you're having access to the instructor, you're having access to other students. They made the same decision that you did, so you have that validation, and then there's networking and a lot of things that can happen from those. So that is very good. Just finishing the thing about the live streaming that I said how we do here with people. Have that in mind, that when you're recording at home, it gets very easy for you to stop at every point and say, let's redo it, let's redo it. Don't get it perfect, get it going. Make the finished product, put it out there, sell it, and then you think about how it could be done better, because that's a roadblock that a lot of people achieve. So you don't have to do live stream, you don't have to have a live editing, doesn't matter, but make sure you make the decision from the get-go, because you will stumble, you will sneeze, things happen, and if you're stopping all the time, it's never going to end.
You don't have to get it perfect, you just have to get it going.
Exactly. Put it out there, see if people want and are willing to follow the journey with you, instead of just trying to get the perfect course at once, because it's not going to happen anyway.
And Shahar, you touch upon a good point, and that is we focus so much on creating the course. You spend so much time thinking about it and organizing it and then shooting it. It's a lot of work. But you don't even know if it's going to sell, right?
Yeah.
And so in this process, in this
You don't know if it's going to sell if you don't work with us.
Well,
right?
yes.
We'll make
That's
sure you know there is a market before you do it.
Absolutely, yes. So, but that's the golden. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to get it going, because it will allow you to go through this process faster and actually go from A to Z. Through completion, and actually start to sell your course, and then structure that as beyond just one course, an actual business.
And a whole series of things.
Yes.
Yes. And the last thing about opting not to keep re-recording is the cost of editing. You're probably not an editor, and I hope you're now willing to learn an editing software right now. So you're going to outsource that. And yes, we cover that. You can get it very cheap today. But if you have 10 takes of the first topic and the second and the third, they will have to go through that. So if at the end your course is 4 hours long, they are going to have to go to those 4 hours like 10 times, even though they're not going to watch everything, but they have to. They will charge you for that.
It's going to cost you more.
So it's going to cost you a lot to have the final product. If you allow, for example, my nose is itching right now. If you allow yourself to scratch your nose and keep on going, you don't have that editing later, so it costs you a lot less. You have to be aware of that, because editing can get very expensive. The more perfectionist you are with the files and how you want it done, the more it's going to cost you. And until you have a proven concept in the market that your courses sell like hotcakes, I would be careful with that. I would not make very expensive courses, because you want to have a profit. let's talk about the potential and benefits of courses. So what are the benefits that you have when creating an online course? First of all is the passive income. Now, I think it's funny, the word passive income, because it really doesn't exist, right? You always have to work for that income. The thing here is that you don't have to keep devoting time to keep selling. So you have one effort, multiple results. So you do the course once and it keeps selling for you. That's the passive part, because you might be sleeping and so many courses sold during the night, especially if you don't have any type of geographical constraints for selling. And you were saying, but it's online, of course I don't have geographical concerns. Sometimes you have on the way you receive the money. So it's passive in that sense, that you are going to put the effort once, work once, and then it will keep working for you. And that's a fantastic way, if you ask me, to make money. Because, for example, we have just a Curious Mondo over 500 courses, right? So if one sells every day, we're good, right? We can keep producing more. So that's where you want to go. You can reach a global audience. So today it's amazing. I don't know today how many people we have from different countries, because I don't have the software here. But the fact is that you reach the whole world today, which allows you to make sales everywhere, as long as the price point makes sense in other currencies, because the dollar tends to be higher than a lot of other currencies. That sometimes is an issue, but it all depends on the topic that you're selling. You have low startup costs. Again, you need a phone, you need maybe a table and a window to get started, and then you're going to outsource someplace in the world for somebody to edit that. Basically, that's it. Because then the delivery, you can choose a platform that already does that, so you don't have to invest. You have a ton of membership platforms.
Or you invest very little.
On really a monthly fee where you have full control and you keep the whole income coming from that. So it's not a lot. I mean, it's way less than, well, let's not count the price of the smartphone. It's less than $1,000. You're in business for sure. So it's flexible, because you can really create and update whenever you want from wherever you want. This instructor that came here to record a course from Brazil, that's exactly what she is doing. We actually recorded 4 courses for her, and now she's traveling and promoting the courses. So she's not at home, and I think this is super cool, right? I don't do that, but I would love to try that a little bit, that I'm outside wherever I want, but at the same time, I'm in business.
So she's traveling the world while still making income.
Making a living, yes. You can scale. So like we said, you can combine with retreats, with consulting, with masterminds. It really it's a natural flow. You might not be thinking about this at all because you just want to create a course. But it's really just the first door of the journey, because then people will naturally ask you for more. And of course, you already have that client here, you start providing that. And of course, credibility, because it establishes you as an authority on that topic. Of course, you're going to do the marketing, you're going to put on social media, and that will increase, but it's a no-brainer. You become the authority on that industry, at least online, and then you can increase that as time goes and the amount of courses that you have done. Any comments, or can I move forward?
Let's do it.
Okay, so I have here the formats. Don't forget that in your course, you can also repurpose things that you already have. So let's say, like Julia, you had a blog and you're not writing on that anymore, but the information is relevant and it's still good. You can incorporate that to the course, or you can even be a standalone course. I have taken more in the past, not in the last few years, but a lot of courses that they were blog-based. They would release the blog open for a while and then take it back, and it did work. It was fine. It's not the most exciting thing, but it is fine. So you can repurpose in 2 ways. You can turn that into a course or incorporate to the course that you're creating right now. I think it can be interesting, but it brings me to the topic, should I close every now and then or not? It's your choice. Both ways can work. So for example, people say, oh, I'm going to release the course on March 10th of whatever year. And then you close and leave it closed for 6 months. it can be good if you're doing the marketing really right, because you create expectation, fear of missing out when you open. So you can generate a pool, of course, of sales every so often. But that can also be the downside if you're not that good in marketing, because then only so often you're going to be able to make money. In my view, it's better to sell one course every day than 10 courses every single month, because I have every single day to make a sale, or 2 or 10, and the fact that they are there, that doesn't matter. But both things can work. You have to see for your audience which one would be the best. Well, we already talked about live stream, series of videos. Micro-learning is another thing. It may become more popular in the future. I think it's in the beginning. And what you do is you create micro-segments of your information, still structure, and you deliver through an app. And there are a few apps already where you pay a monthly fee and you can deliver the course that way. A lot of people say this is the way of the future, again, because of our lack of attention. So we want to consume content really fast. I don't know. I haven't seen this actually work. I've gone into, I have the softwares, I know the apps, but the consumption I don't think is there yet. But again, it changes by the minute, right? Even an email can be a form for you to deliver a course, and some people do. It depends on your audience. The younger we get, the less we are using emails. And if you're not selling to a business crowd, it's, I know some people, some friends of mine, that they check the email once a month when they check. Because they don't do business, so they don't have a need to be checking email. They have the social media platforms in order to get communication going. And the younger we are getting, the less we use email. So you have to take that into consideration. If you're selling to baby boomers and Gen X or the business crowd, yes, I check my mail all day long. I have to. There is no other way. So it's one way to deliver. Not my favorite, because again, everything that I think is important, I put a star and never come back. So I don't know about the ratio of you being able to finish the course, or having your students finish the course. Text messages I already mentioned. And of course, one of the things that when we start our program, that's exactly what we do. You have to define really well who you're selling to. If you don't know that person inside and out, it's going to cost you a lot more to have a profit. But that's a very in-depth topic that we need to cover during the program, because you really have to have a process to get to know. And I would say not only get to know them, get to know you as well. You are a persona. You are part of the product. You want it or not. And since most likely you will be on video, that becomes very, very important. Everything, how you're presenting yourself, and that can tell you about your personality and your beliefs. For example, today we are not giving courses on TV, but a lot of us grew up with TV, so we have the TV standards for everything, right? Very well hair done, and makeup and nails, all very polished. Online, we really don't need that, because what people really want is connection to you. Hey, you know something I don't? I want to know. I want to mimic you, follow your steps. Let's talk human to human here. Can we talk human to human here? So I don't need that staging that I would need on TV a few years ago. And the other thing is that creates a lot of obstacles for you, especially if you're a female, because that means that every single time you will be recording, you have to have the hair done, and the nail done, and the makeup done. And that takes time, that many times takes money, so you will record next week. And then, it was a busy week, I couldn't do it, I'll record next week. So you also have to take all the roadblocks out of the picture, so you get that course done fast. So, but you shouldn't be worrying too much about that, because what we want is connection. And it's okay. For example, I rarely use makeup other than a lipstick. I am okay with that. That doesn't bother me. It bothers me when I have pancake around my face. And people that know me in the last 10 years buying courses, they don't seem to care that I can age on camera, right? choices, right? You can have that choice, but don't let that become a roadblock into you producing the course. You have to get it done fast and put it out on the market. There is no point of you, even if you're putting a restaurant together, to spend 6 months making the perfect decoration, the perfect food, and then not having a crowd to eat your food, right? So it's better to get it out there and fix in the process so you can do this. You're going to say something else. Will you make money with this, right? Well, if you see this as a business and not a hobby, you will make money. If you want to create a course to see how things go, it's tricky. Because sometimes something is in the way of the sales. Could be the topic, if you don't know how to research before. But it could also be your marketing efforts, or you get busy and you don't promote, or you fool yourself thinking that because you have a social media following, you're going to have a lot of buyers. The conversion rate in social media is about 1 to 2%. And we tend to fool ourselves that we have a lot of followers. If the average person has 300 followers, that's not good for sales. But even if you have more, it's a small percentage that will convert. And this, my friend, has nothing to do with courses, but since the beginning, be aware that you cannot market only on social media. You can fall into a trap, and I've seen professionals fall in the same trap, that you start to understand that you need to attract people, therefore you need to be creating content, and you spend the day until you're burned out creating content for the social media platform in order to attract people that will convert on the rate of 1 to 2% into a sales. I think it could be the next definition of insanity, because I see a lot of people doing the same. Yes, you have to attract people. Yes, you have to use social media. But when it comes to generating sales, you need to be more direct, more specific. So that's why you need to see who you're selling to, and you know very well that person, where are they, and many times, not necessarily on social media, how you're going to hit them and make them buy. If you're only going to use the online environment, we are going to have to do some advertising. You have all of the platforms today offering you to do that. Some of them are very cost effective, as long as you know who you're targeting. So you can go that route, but you have to have a specific way of generating sales. Fooling yourself that your crowd out there, because you're the influencer, will buy from you can be tricky. Here's the thing. The more content you're putting out there, the more you're giving yourself out there. You're spilling all the beans, no, not the bees would bite everybody. You're spilling all the beans out there. You think, I'm giving, but what you're really doing is training your audience to consume content from you without paying for it. So you're so nice, they love you. Oh, they will follow you. They will say great things about you. You're their hero. Ah! But they don't buy from you because maybe for years you're educating them to consume what you give for free. And if you have tried this route, it's a lot of work. It is video every day. In some platforms, 3 to 6 times a day. I mean, some platforms think you work for them. Create content for us so we can go sell to our investors. And you do it, fooling yourself that will return into money. That is the only thing that you can use to survive, right? So be careful. I'm not saying you don't have to do social media. You don't have to put content every day. Yes, it is a good thing to do it. But don't fool yourself that your friends and your followers will keep buying from you. Unless you have a humongous following, and I'm saying million or more, then even those 2% can mean a lot of money. But if that's not your case, I would be careful with that. And then, remember that 1 is the worst number, so 1 course is not enough. You have to start thinking about scaling and having a series of courses, because of course, once the person buys a course from you and they like it, right, it's a no-brainer that they want the second one, the third one, the fourth one. If you don't offer that, they will have to find another expert. Isn't that sad?
Absolutely.
Right?
Very sad.
It's very sad. They will spend the money with somebody else to keep their journey on that topic because they want to keep
But they want to learn more. Even Chana mentioned earlier something about, say, watercolor. So yeah, I'm a watercolor artist. Well, first we can do a course on the introduction to watercolor, how to get started. Then we can do a landscaping one. Then we can do
animals,
a portraits one.
Yeah.
Then we can do it. And it's the same thing with other topics. Our program here is called Build, Boost, and Bank. And it's all encompassing in a way where you go from A to Z, but we could take that a step further and we could do a course just on the building techniques, on the creation of the products. But we can do one just on the boosting, the marketing, how to market your courses. And we can do one just on selling techniques, right, on banking. And so you just have to think, how am I going to scale this and turn it into more than just one?
And what other add-ons can I incorporate to that?
Absolutely.
So, for example, one thing we do here at Curious Mondo, we allow people to buy the DVD set of the course. We don't allow them to buy separate from the course because because of our paying system with the instructors, it wouldn't work. But I can add that to the course, and that becomes what, 25% more of the sale ticket. So it can be very interesting. You can sell printed manuals. Today you can print, and in our program we go through that, but you can print on a software, you can create on a software very easily, send it to Amazon KDP, and when you need to print, it costs you $2, $3 to print that. Is cheaper than any type of printer out there, and you deliver that to them, or make Amazon deliver to them as well. Very inexpensive, but you can add on so people get the physical copy. A lot of people like that because they have the inner fear that the course will disappear and you are going to go out of business. It's impressive how many people think that. So by providing a physical copy and charging more for that, you keep the add-on. If from every 10 courses you sell, there is one 25% more because of a DVD, a manual, or whatever, think about how much more at the end of the month you're making.
Always
so very important.
Always think, how can I add more value?
Yeah.
And the value, yes, you always have to provide value in everything that you do, but always think, how can I add more value? And don't be fooled thinking that that value is free, because it's not. With the value comes a price increase, right? Or an add-on. So always think, how can I add more value?
Yes.
A question from Maria. What are examples of some platforms where we can offer our courses?
Well, I think the most famous one is Udemy. I think that's how you pronounce. And they have thousands and thousands of courses. What you have to think, and if you type online, a bunch will show up. But what you have to think is there will be a split of revenue. So, for example, if you put your course there, and you can put as many courses as you want, and you do the marketing, so you generate the sale. I don't know the percentage that they pay, but let's say they pay around 60%. 60% of the sale is yours, and they pay you every 30 days, and there is a way to track that. It's very transparent. If they do the marketing, and they sell through their system, then it might be 5%, 10% that goes to you. Everything else stays to them. And you say, how can that be? It's my intellectual property. Yes, but the most costly thing is the marketing part. So they understand that if they are spending the money to bring a sale, most of the money is theirs. If you're spending the money to bring the sales, most of the money is yours. Our platform has different percentages, but follows the same philosophy, because marketing is very expensive. And if you do on your own, you have everything. Every time somebody's watching your video, they're actually downloading data, you're paying for that. There are lots of costs involved if you decide to control the whole process. So then you have to do a lot of marketing to make it even. And you have platforms where you control everything on the money side, like Kajabi. But say you're going to have a lot more work in the process of setting it up, and you have to generate all the sales. So you pay a monthly fee. It's not a lot considering everything that comes with, but you know, there are more costs there. So it is really a choice of, do I want to do the work or I don't want to do the work? And then if you don't want to do the work, you split with another platform that is already doing most of the things that you don't want to do, including customer service and communication with customers. That is part of the thing, especially when you selling online courses, you get a lot of people that are not familiar with technology. So even clicking on the play button on the video, you would be amazed how many people don't know that they could do that, even in today's age. So you have a lot of customer service for things that, you know, really you think I shouldn't. For example, one thing here that we do with a lot of baby boomers is the iPad. Right? Well, every time we get a phone call, I'm trying to watch the course on my iPad and this is happening, we start pulling our hair out, because it's 99% of the time the issue is the device, not the course, but they're not going to see that. So you still have to help them. Well, this costs us money paying somebody to do that. So if you have a platform that is taking care of this kind of stuff, then you don't have to worry about that, because everything will cost you either your time or your money. So you have to be thinking, okay, it's technology, people will get, I deal with an older audience, they're going to have issues. They don't know how to log in to a website and say, really today, in today's age, yes. And if they only use the phone, which a lot of them do, even more issues.
Chana asks, do you still print out old-fashioned business cards, stickers to hand out, teach locally in the community,
yes,
etc.?
all of that, that's the right way to do it. And that's another funny thing. The more I go to meetings in today's age, they don't have business cards. They don't want business cards, and they have a lot of QR codes on the... The other day I was at an event, and really, no kidding, there were 15 speakers, 14 of them, because I was the speaker that didn't offer a QR code for people to get in touch with them. When I was at the audience, as the audience, I kept thinking, I'm not going to spend my day QR coding anybody, right? So, I mean, I get out of that place, I don't know the name of the speaker, I don't remember anything anymore, that QR code means nothing to me. A business card on the other side will be in their bag. So we hear a lot about not using it. I use it. I use it all the time. I like it because it goes with them. And
Also,
then even if they forget, at some point they will go, oh, that lady with the red hair.
yes. You'll be cleaning out your purse, and all of a sudden you're like, oh,
I need to get in touch with her.
But also, because so many people are choosing not to use these tools, you stand out as it is if you're the only person who does it.
So all of them.
I'm a firm believer as well in utilizing those things. Business cards, stickers, all of those things. Susan asks, can you post the same course on multiple platforms? What's the downside to this?
One will cannibalize the other, even if you could. A lot of them don't. We don't put that restriction because I believe in common sense. I have, for example, in our platform, the art courses, they are sold around $140, which is very expensive for an online course related to arts. It is expensive. It is the most expensive in my industry. But we pay our instructors really well. I have a competitor that, for example, for the Black Friday promotion, $7 any course. When you compare, if you would use critical thinking, you're going to see that my course goes in depth, has 9 hours, theirs has tops 2 hours. I can see the differences and I understand where they're going. Plus, their instructors complain a lot that they don't make money. They sometimes get checks that are 10 cents. And mine, many times they get checks that are thousands of dollars. So when I, from a critical perspective, look, I can see the difference, but the consumer can't. Well, if you have a course here selling, and each platform will have their average price, right? Selling at X and here minus Y, one will cannibalize the other. Now, you may be thinking, oh, but this is cheaper, I'm going to sell more. It's also not always true. It's also not always true. People don't always go for the cheapest price. But now, in this case, it's the same course. So here you're asking for $100, here you're asking for $7. Which one am I going to buy? How much are you making on this platform? Right? So it may cannibalize. Now, understanding the copyright realm, that you have the intellectual property for that course. You created it, right? Who recorded it will play a role. So, for example, in our situation, because we record the course and we do the final packaging, we share copyrights. So, of course, they will always have intellectual property, but the files are mine. See, because I created those files. So you have to check the platforms that you're going. You really need to read how it's done and how it is will allow you or not allow you to do. But despite what they are trying to do, You have to think, will this be beneficial to me? For me, I think one cannibalizes the other. And you know other formats that cannibalize? For example, if you have a course and then you have a Patreon account where you're providing content for $10 a month for people for free. There would not be a conflict if what you're providing there is totally different than what you're teaching here. But guess what happens? After 3 or 4 months, you're tired of creating content every single month for your subscribers. So you start teaching the same thing you have in the course. But it's just a 10-minute thing. But then next month is another 10-minute thing. Well, here it's cannibalizing the sales of this. Here,
So
$10, here, $140.
You're exchanging dollars for pennies.
Exactly. So I'm not saying you cannot do that. A lot of people do, but they teach here, and then on Patreon, they provide something else. For example, let's say you teach polymer clay. Every month on your Patreon, you have a new template, a new type of texture. You're selling the, how do you say, not modes, the patterns, for example. Same thing if you're sewing stuff or making dolls, you can sell patterns. So you're selling things that could be add-ons, but they can be sold separate from the course.
So ultimately, you're not picking one or the other. Like I'm going to do just my course, and I'm not going to be on Patreon, for example. You're using one to complement the other. So you essentially will use that other platform to promote your main thing.
Exactly. And going back to the other question, that's the same thing when you're doing in-person courses. Yes, you should be doing that. The in-person course has another vibe, another energy. People like to be together with others. It's really a unique and very good experience. But the fact is that if I'm on an in-person course, most likely I'll be sitting someplace watching you from an angle, and that's it. I may even go behind you and take a look, but that's about it. I leave the place, life happens, next day I remember what, 10, 20% of everything I learned. If you give the course and say, if you want to revisit what we have been doing today, I have an online course of this. And you sell that as an add-on, right? They can buy the online course. Why? Because now, not only they will be able to see from other angles they were not able to see, once they forget, they go back and watch it. So if they're in the process of making something and they forgot, guess what? Oh, I think it was class number 3. Let me play. Let me forward here. Let me rewind. And I see, unless I pay you again to be in person, I don't have that opportunity. Right? So why not combine those two? When we started here, we started with a line of products that they stiffen fabric so much that you can put in the garden. And we were the first ones to give online courses about that. And a lot of people, especially in Canada, where that product is very big, they got very, very, very angry that we were doing online courses, to the point that they went to the corporation and, they have to stop, we're not going to be able to give classes anymore. And I had a very long conversation with corporate, showing them that that was not true. It was going to happen the exact opposite. They would be able to sell more courses because of our courses. Guess what happened over the years? We are now all partners. Because, of course, there is no experience like the in-person course. So the person watches the course, they buy the online course, they get so excited, and then they find there is an instructor in their city. No-brainer. They go and take the course. They don't compete with each other. They complement each other. And a lot of people fail to see that. They fail to see how good it can be if I use as an instructor, or even if somebody else, is using that as online and I'm just giving in person. We don't compete. We complement each other. Have that in mind, because you can scale your business even more if you have that mindset.
Shahar,
Now, go.
You've mentioned, and maybe I'm going too soon on this one, but we've mentioned several times that we have a program.
Yes.
Tell me more about that.
Oh, it's a very cool program because we have tested more than once, and yes, it's a little bit too soon. But we have created a modular course.
We call it the implementation program.
It's an implementation program, and by the way, fantastic name for that. Nashlah came up with that because we've been discussing a lot the word course is not sexy to people because it means they have to learn, and learn takes work. And even though when we are selling how to do your online course, we have to use the word, in your own program, you might want to tweak that a little bit. It gets easier for you and cheaper when you're doing advertising. But we created a modular program where we go topic by topic, so it doesn't overwhelm you, and it goes in depth because that's how we roll here. And it has a series of bonuses. For example, the 3-day intensive, it is there, and it was intensive. Man, it was intensive. We talked about so many things. Because if it is a business, it's not just how you put the camera and the light and what you talk.
It's in depth.
And we have we have templates and things like that. And we also have every now and then we go into a Zoom meeting where we see the progress. So let's say you take 2 months from consuming the course to start doing the course, you start recording and you go into a roadblock. Well, you will have a Zoom meeting with us just to answer questions, just to see why you stop at that point and how can you move forward. I think that's a very cool thing to do because, again, like Marie said, there are roadblocks and we all go through that, and some of them are harder to overcome than others. So, after 500 courses, I can tell you, I can push you through any roadblock because we have run into all of them, not just personally, but with instructors as well. Right? If you think it's easy for them to come here and teach a class, it is not. It's almost like a pregnancy labor process sometimes because they do put all the obstacles you can think of. Even that I don't have the right color to paint this, right? So you have to deal with that. And I'll give you the website to go there in a second. I want to read this phrase for you because I think it's crucial that you understand that. People don't buy information, they buy transformation. And that's what you need to be selling. We don't sell information. We sell transformation, right? Again, because information can be overwhelming. Transformation, I become something else.
I become what I envision, what I want to become.
Exactly. So the real question that you have to answer is who they become by working with me. Because if no changes happen, you are in the wrong business. You have to provide that transformation to them. Now, if your audience, they could snap their fingers and get the transformation without doing anything, they would. So you have to stress the point that they will accomplish that in an easy and fast way. You don't have to lie, but you have to say, I'm going to guide you through such a process that is going to be easier and faster than if you did on your own, right? What else do I have to talk to you? A little bit about AI. In the program, we do not only talk about them, but we also show you how the 3 main ones that we think would be the best for you to help you in the process. Don't fall for the trap of thinking that AI can create the course for you, because that's what a lot of people are selling right now. They can create in 2 minutes and you're going to be a millionaire. That's not going to happen. But AI can help you a lot, including with the brainstorming and with the structure. For teachers like Marie, she's probably used to structuring a course the way it has to be. Most of us are not. And the AI can actually help in that process. Sometimes it gives you very good idea. I use AI a lot sometimes to brainstorm. Like if I were talking to a group of people and I say, I see this as the positive points and what do you think, and things like that. So we'll show you that, but have one thing in mind. We're entering the age of AI. You may think it's creepy, you may think it's great, doesn't matter. We are entering that age, and now everything has AI, right? If you go write an email, we can write the email for you. But it changes extremely fast because, we're starting, it's not that it's a new thing, but we're starting to have access to that now. So it changes a lot. I would learn how to use some of the tools. I would not overthink about them. They can help you in the process. They can help you, like I said, create a book, create an ebook, brainstorm, help with the structure, but I would not rely on them. You have the knowledge and the passion. It should be about you. You were going to say something? No? The marketing part. Well, the marketing, we could really spend hours on how do I market and sell. Just understand one thing. In the program, we are going to cover all that. You don't have to have a huge structure. You don't even need to have a website. What you have to think is, okay, how do I attract people? What is the first thing that they consume? Where they go from there? This is called a funnel. You hear that a lot, but it's not something new. It has existed for many years. So, for example, one easy way, let's suppose you're using social media all the time to attract people. You can offer them a small free course or a webinar, like this one, for example, 90 minutes or so, where you explain and entice them about that subject, right? Do they like it? You take them to a sale, the real course. And from there, you can go deeper and deeper, like masterminds, in-person classes, and things like that. So that is called a funnel, a sales funnel, and it works really well. It's not the only way, but it's cheaper for you when you're marketing. Remember I said at some point you're going to do ads? Well, if you try to run the ad to a sale with people that don't know you, it is harder. It's going to be more expensive. You're going to have a higher number of people getting into that page in order to make a sale. So it can get expensive. If you're very well known or if you have a very large following, that changes. But if not, and I'm going to assume most of us are not famous, then it's going to cost you a lot. Now, if you spend the money and send them to something free that they consume and get to know about what you're teaching, well, now they start creating a rapport with you. And when you do the call to action for the sale, they're more likely to convert. So it gets a lot cheaper for you to market the same product. And again, the webinar, the video that you're going to record, is not going to teach them per se, it's going to entice them. But you can combine both. I don't like the idea of I'm not going to teach you anything during 90 minutes and then you have to buy. You have seen by now, we are over 90 minutes, that we give content. But there is a balance. So the how-to is inside the program. This is the easiest way. With videos or webinars is really the best way to go because it creates that rapport. By now you either like me or not. You hate the fact that I have an itch on my nose, or you love me, and then we'll go from there. Can you use other formats? Of course you can. You can have PowerPoints, for example. They're getting a little old to use. The other day I was in a meeting and we were supposed to briefly introduce ourselves. And the guy opened a PowerPoint and really all that I went through my mind was, oh my gosh, no, right? This is going to take forever because we know how they are. But it can be done. Not my favorite, but it can be done. You can do other formats if you're not, even just audio. You could have a picture and then just audio going on. It's another way. Today, to do this type of funnel, you have systems out there that, again, cost you very little every month and that you can easily create or get somebody to create for you. But they are not complicated to use. That's the important part. And you don't have to be paying for hosting, bringing traffic. You have to bring traffic through the ad, and that is it. Can it be overwhelming? Yes, it can, right? Because there are many parts to this. It's not just, oh, go to the AI, create the course and sell. That would be awesome if that was possible. But we live in a world with a lot of competition, very distracted people. So we have to put the work to create a good product and then put the work to sell that. Now, with that said, once you have the funnel and you have things selling, you can also automate the selling part. So this is not the case today here. I am live. But now I also recorded this. Let's say this one converts well, meaning that I make sales out of this. I can automate this so every so often we do a promotion. I'm going to do a 90-minute free webinar, and people come and they go through everything again, but now I'm not there. It's recorded. And it helps you make the sales. We'll talk about those softwares as well, because it is a good thing, especially when you have more than one course. You can create these funnels all day long and have the free part going automated and then make the sale. I mean, it doesn't get better than that, right? Mm-hmm. So what's the next step? The next step is for you to join our program, because then in this program, like I said, is modular, part by part. We go in depth into each one, and we go in that logical sequence. So we are going to start first with your client, and how do you get to know this client so you save money at the end. Then the structure of the course, what to think about the roadblocks. We are going to talk about tools because they are crucial to make the student move through the course until the end. Again, because you want that. You want that student to be with you for a very long time. I can tell you here, the Curious Mondo has about 8 years now. We have students that have been with us since the first day, and they are still buying from us. You create a loyalty and a relationship that is invaluable. I told you the fact that the existing client costs you less than the new one, but not only that, that client becomes your advocate, becomes cheers for you. Many times they help you because you may have masterminds, retreats and things, and they will show up and they will help you in the process. So they become very valuable pieces of your ecosystem. So this is really cool when that happens, but you have to be able to offer them a journey other than that one course, right? So we have about the tools, we have about retention and onboarding. So you sold, now what? Let's say your course starts in 2 weeks. What's going to happen with that client, right? So we have a module for that. And then, of course, we go into the marketing and selling part. A lot of people don't like selling. But if you want a business, you need to learn how to love selling. And it doesn't have to be bad. Now, what do you get for bonuses? Well, we have templates of different structures. Like Marie said, there is a normal structure to go through and see the roadblocks. We also put the one that we use here that is a simplified thing to make all the recording easier. Then, well, I have tools there that you can download, believe me. Then we have the 3-day intensive. We went full force on those 3 days and we cover a lot. So we cover all the topics in 3 days, 9 hours of video, for example. It is there for you. And if you're watching this today and you took that course, just know you are grandfather in. You have access to the modular one as well. And like I told you, every I'm not going to say it's 3 months or 4 months, but we come in a Zoom to see how everybody is doing, what are their roadblocks that they were not able to overcome, and how they do that. That one, we don't even record and we don't put in the area. It's really a private meeting with the students. Not a private meeting one-on-one, it's in group, but it's with the students. Questions, answers, we are all on camera, which, by the way, just as a side note, I'm going to stop my call to action. See how much I care about you. Be careful when you're doing Zoom as a course, because if you record everybody on screen, you will have to have a release form from each person, or else you can get in trouble. So record just your face there. Back to the sales. So you see all these little things. We have experienced them. We have lived them. Like I told you, we've been creating info products for us and for other people for over 15 years easily, and online courses for at least 10 years, 8 years just with Curious Mondo, where we have 500 courses. I think 30 of them, it's my courses. All the others belong to other people. We've been through every good part and bad part of this business, right? And we've been in this for a very long time. So we can guide you. Doesn't matter the topic, because really the issues are usually the same. Yeah, you would be amazed. Even with consulting, we did that for a very long time. Doesn't matter the size of the business, but the issues that come, they are always very similar. And the investment is really small, right? Really small. So how do they do this, Nashlah?
Simple. Just go to buildboostandbank.com. Buildboostandbank.com.
Buildboostandbank.com, and you're going to see it's not scary, the price point, and you're going to learn a lot.
You will. It's just exactly what Shahar was talking about earlier. It's about that transformation. That's why we call it an implementation program, because it is meant to get you to actually implement, follow through, and create. So you start with just an idea, with a passion, and you then turn it into a course, into profits. And that is why we even include the bonus get-togethers, where we answer any questions that you might have, just to push you towards action, because that is precisely what we want you to do, to take that action, to create, to implement, and to transform.
Yeah, so our promise is to teach you how to create an online course. Our desire is that by the end, you create a sustainable business. that you can, quit a job if you don't like that job, or do it on the side. That really doesn't matter. The way you approach the money coming in is up to you. But you create something that's sustainable, that can go through crises, that can go through uncertainties, and you can grow as far as you want. If you want to stick to one or two, totally fine. If you want to create a whole thing around it, totally fine. You will have the road to follow. And so, again, promise you will make an online course, big desire that you will create a sustainable business. And really all it takes is for you to go read the page, build, boost, and bank.com. Take action today and, get started, get this going. There's no better time of the year to do that other than now, right?
That's right.
Take action.
The time is now. Build, boost, and bank.com.
It was a pleasure being here with you.
Yes, it was.
And it was great for the interaction that we had. I hope to see you on the other side very soon.
See ya.
See ya.